I'm Michelle Dolan, Mrs. Galaxy Australia 2019, and I'm having an interview with the Pageant project.
Okay, guys, so if you're watching the stream, can you let us know how the audio is? But Michelle, can you tell us, I guess let's start by your pageant experience. I know Alicia very well, your miss. I've interviewed her, I think it was the 7th time. And I interviewed your teen, Tiana, this morning, this was her first pageant experience ever. And so where do you fit on the spectrum of Alicia's level of insanity to Tiana's first time the winner?
I am more towards Tiana's. I can't say it was my first pageant.
Mm-hmm.
My mum actually entered me in a pageant back in 1991. And I won the Australian title of Little Aussie.
Little Aussie. I've never heard of that one.
Oh, obviously it was 28 years ago now, so a very long time ago. And yeah, this was my first pageant since then. So I was very lucky.
So when you say your mum entered you, did she tell you that she was doing it, or she just entered you without your knowledge?
Well, I was only 1 year old, so I assume that I had no idea.
Do you remember anything about that pageant, given that you were 1 year old?
I have photos and I have sashes hanging up there, and that's about it.
Okay, so obviously after a bit of a break from pageant land, and probably a few life experiences as well, yes. What brought you back? I mean, so essentially it was your first experience, really, similar to Tiana. Yeah. So what brought you into the pageant world?
I've had 3 children. I'm 30 next year, and I thought it was just time that I did something for me and something to boost my confidence. And I was looking at ways of how to give back in the community. And, you know, me being a mum, I'm the role model that they look up to. So if I'm not doing good things, then I can't expect them to do good things. So I saw the Galaxy system come up, and I'd been following it for a few years. Right. And one of the mums, what inspired me was one of the mums from my daughter's school actually entered, and she won Australia. She was Ms. Galaxy last year, and that was Tammy Roberts.
I know Tammy.
Yeah, and so our kids go to the same school, and I just remember looking at her at school. She had no idea who I was, but I knew who she was, and it was just the most funniest thing. And I was just like, wow, like she inspired me so much. I'm like, wow, if she can do it, like I'm crazy if I don't at least apply. And yeah, it was so funny because I finally, once I became a national finalist, I finally got the guts, I guess, to go up and introduce myself to her. And as soon as I said I'm a national finalist for Galaxy, she gave me the biggest, warmest hug. And I was just like, this is exactly where I need to be right now and what I need to be doing. So yeah, that's just how it all happened. And here I am.
I mean, I've interviewed Maria Torres, who's the international director, and she certainly seems that family to her, she's Latina, is a huge thing. I don't think she's just saying it. She talks about the Galaxy family, and basically if you don't want to be part of that family, in her words, she said don't try too hard. Guys, if you have any questions for Michelle, put them in the comments below. You have Margaret E. Gray, who's already said, hi, baby sister, with 2 X's.
That's my big sister, yeah.
Figured as much. So you said that, I guess you implied that you wanted to do something that your children could be proud of. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but you said you wanted to be a role model for them. So what aspects of pageantry do you feel that are going to best be like the role model for your children? What were the qualities that you were looking at?
Look, self-confidence is a huge thing. My 8-year-old struggles with self-confidence, just as I did when I was her age. You know, I see so much of myself in my daughter, Gabriella. She's redhead, she's fair skin, freckles, and she doubts herself, you know, and she's gone through bullying just as I did. And, you know, for her to show that, you know, she's so proud of me and what I'm achieving. And she, not only her, my other daughter, Scarlett, like they're involved in every aspect of my pageant journey as well. So it's not just, you know, me going to appearances, for instance, like they're coming with me. They're doing, you know, if I'm handing out brochures for, you know, certain charities, or if I'm donating stuff, like they are there doing it with me. So it's just getting them involved in, you know, giving back. It's not just all about you. It's about helping people that you can help. And so by that, that's what I want to mean by, you know, self-confidence, being just someone positive for them to look up to. And I really just want to be someone that they want to be when they grow up. And that's so important to me.
For sure. I mean, bullying is such a pandemic everywhere, not just in this, not in your state, not in this country, everywhere.
Everywhere.
What was your, I mean, you don't need to go into details, but what was your experience of bullying like growing up?
Look, you know, I copped it literally from every angle, every aspect. As I said, I had red hair, fair skin. My parents had me later on in life. So, you know, we had an old car and, you know, we didn't have much, but I had my family. And I guess that's why my values on family are so strong as well. And, you know, I just remember going through school, and I was a singer as well, and I loved choir. That was my outlet, you know, for school. And I used to get teased for that even, and I just wanted to perform and just try and find where I fit in. And people just didn't understand that, and I didn't understand why I was singled out so much. And then as I grew up, and I thought I had to do a certain thing or look a certain way to fit in, and I look back now and I wish I could tell myself, you know, that wasn't the way, that's not the answer. And so now, having my children, that, you know, I try to push that message to them, you know, like my eldest daughter, she dances and she's incredible, but she doubts herself so much. And, you know, as I said, she's very pale, so she goes and does competitions and she's the whitest out of everyone. And, you know, she will always wear a jacket because she's so scared to share her fair skin. And that breaks my heart. So my biggest thing is pushing through that and hopefully giving her some self-confidence. Also, giving her someone to look up to. And
why do you think I mean, whether it's in your case or your daughter's case, why do you think the kids actually bully you in the first place? I mean, it's a huge issue, but I never bullied anyone in school. I was bullied in school. I mean, I was sort of this height, 6'1", when I was in year 6, so I always kind of stood out. But why do you think that you were singled out?
I guess I was just different, you know. As I said, no one else wanted to sing. No one else looked the way I did, or, you know, we didn't have a brand new car, and, you know, my mum worked. My whole family world was different to everyone else's. My brothers and sisters were all a lot older than me. My nieces and nephews were older than me. So, you know, I was just singled as different, and I guess I just stood out, but in a bad way, like to everyone else. And primary school was hard. Like it was hard. I remember lunchtimes I'd sit by myself because I wouldn't have anyone to play with, or you know, but it made me so much stronger as a person, and especially now. And I guess that's why I'm so big about what I'm trying to push, especially with my reign as Mrs. Galaxy Australia. Like, I have a story, an important one, and this is not going anywhere. If anything, bullying is getting worse in Australia, especially now with social media. Thank God we didn't have social media back then, because I genuinely do not think that I would have been in a good mental state at all.
I absolutely agree. I mean, your daughters have to go through it now, and they do have social media. So, I mean, you mentioned,
and it's terrifying.
Yeah, I completely, like, there are days I don't want to be on social media, and I'm a grown man. So for me to be slightly not wanting to touch it, I can only imagine. Well, I can't actually imagine what it's like to be in a world where you've never seen a world without social media. I'm old enough to remember that world and really value that memory.
Yeah.
But in terms of your reign, so what is the message that you really want to promote?
Look, I want to make sure that people realise, I'm doing as much campaigning as I can for Do It for Dolly. I've got a huge thing that's happening after Galaxy Internationals that I've been working on, and I cannot wait to show that. And I've done talks at my daughter's school about bullying. I've done lots of online stuff. The whole Do It for Dolly cause in Australia is huge. It needs more awareness because it is
Michelle, can you go into a
important.
little bit more detail about that? Because people watching overseas and even some in Australia may not actually know what that cause is about.
Yeah, sure. So Do It for Dolly is unfortunately a 14-year-old girl. Her real name was Amy, but she was known by Dolly. She was bullied to the point where she thought the only way to escape it was to unfortunately
Suicide.
Suicide. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's just for a 14-year-old to feel like that it's just so unacceptable. And for the people that made her feel like that, it's disgusting. So I think people really need to realise that, yes, they're words, and, you can post a picture bagging someone out and whatnot on social media, but boy, you don't realise how much that is really affecting somebody. And it's not a nice feeling. And it's, if someone does go to that extreme from words that you've said, then you're the one that has to sleep at night over that. So I think people just really got to take into account of what they're doing, what they're saying, and how they're going about things. Because, and it's sad because it's not even just children, like adults. Adults are just as bad, and it's horrific. So, it's definitely something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I will be making sure my title is put to good use with this.
I mean, unfortunately, Dolly's story is not unique. There are other stories. I remember one overseas where a girl, a teenage girl, probably about the same age as Dolly, actually posted on Instagram, you know, how you can put polls and people can vote one way or the other. And obviously she had some issues, but she actually put up whether she should basically live or die, kill herself. And people voted in the majority of that she should kill herself, and she did. She threw herself off a balcony. It was just horrible. But to come to, I guess, obviously you said you had 2 daughters, and then we talked about social media. I think it's really interesting to ask you as a parent, what is your view of social media and them taking it on their phones and into school? Would you want them on social media? Would you want them to only be on it outside of school? Or would you want them basically not to be on it until, let's say, a certain age?
Look, in a perfect world, I wouldn't let them have social media at all. Unfortunately, the generations are getting smarter and smarter when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I think it's unavoidable. But my biggest thing with my children is having an open relationship where we can talk to one another. So as long as, they're open with me about things, and obviously I don't want them on it at school. My daughter's been asking when, my eldest, who's 8, she's been asking when she's allowed to get a phone, and we're just like, you're 8, be an 8-year-old. Don't worry about that kind of thing and whatnot. So when the time comes, obviously I can't stop them from having social media. I just hope that they're responsible enough to know how to do it the right way, and I'll be keeping a very close eye.
I can only imagine. I mean, it's really, I feel for the parents, people who are just becoming parents sort of now, because looking after that social media thing, it's not easy. And if you think that you can keep the children away from it, they will figure it out, because they're smarter than you, and they'll figure out a way to do it behind your back, which normally ends up even worse.
Worse, exactly.
Catherine Adamson, I don't know if do you know Catherine Adamson or Ruby Adamson?
Yes.
I just had Ruby on my...
It's the Ruby I'm thinking of then, yes.
So Catherine is Ruby's mum, and she's written, "Different is far more appealing than same. The right people always find you when you stay authentically you. It just takes a while to realise that." Which is absolutely true, but I guess just sadly in the cases of some people, they never get to, live long enough to see that and just understand that kids can be nasty. But let's change tacks. And let's
Yes.
talk about, you talk about beaten up cars. Let's talk about drag, not drag queens, but drag racing.
I'm a drag queen in a way.
Yes, but not the drag queen that I think most people would think.
Combined.
So tell us about that, because this is the first for me. I've interviewed one pageant competitor who loves tuning up her car, but I've never interviewed a drag racing queen. So how did this start?
Look, as I said before, my family, it was just an odd family situation. So my parents had me later on in life. So my mum went back to work and my dad was already retired. So he was a gold miner in Kalgoorlie. So my dad raised me while my mum went to work. So obviously normal kids are, with their mums going shopping or playing with Barbies and whatnot. I was pulling apart cars with my dad. Which it was honestly, I am so grateful and so lucky that I got to experience that, because my dad and I had a bond that, would be, well, I wouldn't say rare, but it's something that I'll treasure forever. And so tinkering with cars was just my thing. I did it on the daily. That was my normal. And then it came to the time where obviously I was going out of school and I had to find a job. And all I wanted to be was a mechanic, because that's all I knew how to do. And I had so much experience in it. So I applied in Kalgoorlie, and it was so bizarre. I kept getting knocked back. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to go elsewhere. So I travelled the 7 hours to Kalgoorlie on the train, and to Perth, from Kalgoorlie. And I had an interview set up here, and I got it. The first interview I went to, I got it. And then I was like, wow, I actually have to pack up and leave my family and move to Perth now. So I did. And it was everything I could want and more. It was hard being away from my family. Within the first year, it was the first year, unfortunately I lost my dad. So that was hard. But, it just made me hungrier to do what I wanted to do in life. And then I was lucky enough that the drag racing thing came about, and I actually got approached to go on to a drag team. And I couldn't believe it, because back in Kalgoorlie when I was growing up, I literally had these people's posters on my wall.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and now we race against them, and it literally is a dream come true. And I've been on the drag team for the last 13 years now, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It is the best thing. It's me to a T, and it's just such a family orientated sport. Everyone is family, and it's something so special, and it's really good. Like it's my passion, and I love it.
Can you give us an idea? So do you drive the drag car? Are you the mechanic for the drive car? Like what position do you fill?
So my official position, I'm the reverse gear. So
the reverse
I drive
gear.
Yes. Okay. So what that is I jump over once the car's done the burnout, and then I reverse it back, make sure Mark's in the groove and whatnot. And then I've got my things I do in the car. And then obviously get it back, and I work on the car. I do all the team prep. I do all the cooking. I'm the multitasker of the team, I guess you could say. But yes, my next step and my dream is to drive. Watch this space. That's all I'm saying.
It's just a shame that I'm assuming that when you do it, you have to wear a helmet, so you can't wear your crown at the same time.
No, but you can put the crown on the side of the car in sticker form.
I've never seen a drag race. I did see a couple of similar things on Top Gear back in the day. Can you give us an idea what a drag race it's like? I mean, it's over very quickly, I would imagine. Let's put it that way.
Extremely quickly. Well, our bracket is door slammer, pro slammer, however you look at it, whatever side of the state you're on. And I mean, our personal car, the Plymouth Fury, we run 582s down the quarter mile. So we're pretty fast. But it's just, two cars going the stage and nail it, and whoever gets there. It's different. It's not whoever gets the line first. It's you've got to have the best package, from when you take off and whatnot. So, it's exciting, and I think that's it's just so fulfilling just to watch all that hard
Yeah.
work, but mind you, it's months and months of hard work, and it's literally over in 5 seconds.
How many horses does that car have?
Oh, thousands, in many thousands. Yeah, a lot.
Talk about 10-second quarter miles being fast, and you guys are doing it in half that. And obviously, as you get faster, it gets harder to shave off seconds. So 5.82 for the quarter mile. So does it ever feel weird for you driving a normal car?
It's hard, like after the meeting, to get into your car, and it's like,
It's very, very different.
Yeah, but it's a real thing that you have to have a passion for and to really appreciate it. And it's a good sport. It's a very good sport to be in.
How many other girls or how many other women have you come across in your travels?
There is actually a lot of females in our sport, and some incredible, inspiring ones too. And that's what's so special about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the males driving the cars, or or a lot of wives reverse their husbands, or girlfriends reversing their partners. I'm lucky because I do it with my family, you know what I mean? So Mark and Gary are like brothers to me, and it's just it's a really good sport to be in. Especially, as I said, females are so accepted as well, and there's a lot of females that are a lot quicker than their boyfriends and their husbands in their race cars, so that's always great bragging rights as well.
I just think if you ever enter a pageant that has a talent section, I think doing a drag race.
How will I do? Exactly. Like, please, everyone, come outside.
I don't know. If you brought the drag car on stage and just turned it on, you might turn a few heads.
Yeah. I think literally they'd be turning away from the noise.
It's
very, very loud.
You'll give them a nice shake-up. So you're going to America, you said, in a couple of days. So how are you feeling about it? What are you most looking forward to?
I cannot wait to meet everyone. I've been dying. I've been talking to so many people on social media, and it's just to put a face to the actual person and to hear the accents. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Like, I've been watching your interviews that you've been doing, and I was just last night watching Beth. I was just like, oh my God, her accent is everything. It was just, I love UK accent and American accents, and I can't wait to hear other accents. I'm pretty excited over that, if you can't tell.
You're going to have a huge melting pot of accents over there. You're going to have Beth's accent, then you're going to have some, I guess, that are more London or more Cockney, I don't know, then Scottish, and then obviously American, and then Latina, and you're going to have a fun time over there.
It's going to be amazing.
And how are you feeling? Are you feeling ready for it? Are you feeling nervous? What are the emotions like at the moment?
I actually don't think it's sunk in yet. As I said to you earlier, I am way too prepared, and it's scaring me. I've packed. I've done everything that I can do. I spent today cooking meals for my children while I'm away, because you got to have mama's food. So they're all ready, and it's just the waiting game now, and it's bizarre because I'm way too organised. But I guess that's just the mum in me, you know what I mean? And I think it'll start to hit me tomorrow night, and preparing myself to leave my 3 kids has been hard, and as it's getting closer, it's getting harder as well. Like, my 2 daughters, they've been away because with the drag car we do a lot of travelling. We travel around Australia racing that car. Yeah, so, I've been away from my girls for, a couple of weeks at a time to do that, because we normally fly over, then drive around. But I've never been away from my son. And my son's 1.5 years old, and he's a mummy's boy. And that is going to be super hard, because I've usually got him everywhere with me. So I think, when I leave for the airport, I think it's going to hit me, and I'm going to be an emotional wreck.
Just watch your makeup. It may run a little bit.
I know. Waterproof everything.
When you head over there, are there any sections that you're most looking forward to? I mean, what's your favorite section? I mean, as we've said, this is your first one, so you're like Tiana. You entered your first one, you won your first one. But is there any particular segment that you're more looking forward to than the others?
Interview. Definitely interview. I have a passion for getting my message across. And I want to be heard. I'm not just someone that's going to sit back and, be nervous and stumble.
Mm.
And I'm on a mission, and I think that's my biggest thing that I'm good at is, making sure that I am heard, I'm understood, but I come across, not aggressive. I don't want to be aggressive, but I come across as confident is my biggest thing. And it worked in my favour. I won Best in Interview at the Australia Galaxy Pageants for Misses, and that to me that was, out of all of my awards I won, that was pretty special that I got that.
I can imagine. Margaret E. Gray, so your sister, we are all so proud of you. Whatever happens, you're a winner in our eyes. Always XX go Aussies.
Not biased at all.
No, clearly not at all. What would you say to, let's say, a young mum or just a mum who might be interested in doing pageantry, but just really doesn't know if it's worth her time? I mean, obviously you entered it, you enjoyed it, and now you're going overseas. So what would you say to a mum who's thinking of entering her first pageant?
My best advice would be, you need to do something for yourself. I had children at a very young age. I fell pregnant at 19 with Gabriella. And then I fell pregnant with Scarlett when I was 22. And, I thought, well, that's it. I'm a mum now, and it's, my life revolves around my children, which it does. 100% my children are my world. But, it was time for me to do something for me, and because I'm at it too, and I'm lucky. My husband's so supportive, and he backs me 100% with whatever crazy ideas I come up with to do and whatnot. So, it really, when I had this idea, I remember saying to my husband, do you think I should enter? And Cameron goes, I've always thought this was something that you would eventually find. And, I've always loved makeup and beautiful dresses, but my biggest thing was I always tried my hardest to make a difference, whether it was, we had a massive bushfire here a couple of years ago, and, straight away I was like, I want to raise some money. So I did a bake sale, because I used to be a bit of a baker at the drags, and, with the drag racing family, everyone supports what you do.
Right.
And gets behind you 100%. So I raised over $700 within, literally, it was like the night before. I was like, I'm going to do a bake sale for the drags tomorrow. And, so that's my cup of tea, and that's just what, I'm passionate about, is just finding one way or another to help where I can. So, yeah, like, my husband was my biggest supporter. And so I think to a young mum or any mum, like, you matter, and your dreams don't just dissolve because you've had children. If anything, you've got to make them excited and them proud of you. I mean, my daughters literally have told every single person that they've come around, whether it be school, at the shops, at the local park, my mum's Mrs. Galaxy Australia. Everyone, they're so proud. So really do it for you, do it for them, and just get out there, like, you matter.
What's the biggest thing you've learnt about yourself in your pageantry journey so far?
That I am as strong as person as what I thought I was, or that I could be. I've been through a roller coaster ride throughout this whole pageant journey so far. I've doubted myself so much, to the point where before at nationals, I literally was on the verge of pulling out.
Wow.
I just, I'd done all this hard work and everything, and I was just second guessing whether I was doing the right thing. From, my daughters dance every day after school, and, I had a little boy, and, he required my full-time attention, and I was just scared that I wasn't putting in 100% to being a mother. And it was my husband that sat me down, and he's like, you're crazy. Like,
in a good way.
They're loved. Yeah, in a good way, exactly. They're loved, they're fed, they're happy, they're still going to all their classes, and, our son's still running amok and being crazy and healthy and whatnot. And he's like, you're doing so good, Michelle.
Mm.
And I remember I did up a post on social media about it. And, you know, I don't like when people prevail like a whole fake sense of whatever. Like my biggest thing was being real and being myself. And so I put a big post up on social media and I was like, you know, I doubted myself and I was very close to pulling out. And the amount of messages that I got of girls that were doing the national finals that felt exactly the same way, but didn't want to put it on social media, or, you know what I mean, just because I wanted to look confident and, you know, like not a worry in the world, where my biggest thing was being real. And I think I've proved that to myself now that, you know, I am good enough. I was good enough, and I'm good enough to go to internationals. So
those messages you got from the girls after you put that post up, I'm going to imagine it wasn't just from your division either. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there were some of the younger ones who felt exactly the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the most of them, and I'm not talking just like 1, 2, 3 messages. I'm talking, I got over 10 messages. It was huge, you know, and even a couple of the girls, it inspired them to put up a post very similar. But you know, there's just such this fake sense of you have to be perfect on social media, and, you know, trying to make out that you've got a perfect life, you know, because you don't know if judges are watching your social media and whatnot. And it's just, I'd rather be real. And like, even with my photos and everything, like my photos aren't perfect. My photos aren't fully filtered. Only because I don't know how to. Like, I'm just, as I said earlier, like technology to me is like, oh, but, you know, just, I think this world needs a sense of realness, and I hope that I bring some of it towards it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I'm not at all surprised that when you put that post up that a lot of people messaged you, because what we do need is realness and authenticity. And I do think pageantry is going in that direction, which is fantastic. So I think it's very...
And that's what I love so much about Galaxy, is it promotes that as well. You know what I mean? It's not just a pretty face. Like, you have to have the whole package.
Absolutely.
You're not just going to win on beauty. So I love the Galaxy system for that exact thing.
Can you tell us a bit about, I mean, you mentioned it briefly before, but your plans after America? You said you had some big things planned, but just in general, with the rest of your Australian reign, what are the things you have planned?
Sorry, you just cut out then.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I missed that whole question. Yes,
okay.
I can hear you now.
For the rest of your reign, what are the things that you have planned? You did mention, I think, one of them before, but what are the things you have planned for the rest of your Australian reign anyway?
Yes, so I'm lucky enough to have partnered with some people that are having a ball that's coming up in September and a gala night. So I'm going to be working with that. Another huge thing that I'm really passionate about is breast cancer. So I've got something else in my works for that as well. So just my biggest thing is, as I said, getting awareness out about things that, you know, there's charities and there's getting awareness about charities, but it's just so much more different when it's something that means something toward, like, to you. So I have some very, very big things coming up, and I can just imagine how much more of an oomph they would be if somehow I win the international title. Like, I really think that platform could make me have an even louder voice for what I've got and what I want to do.
Are you going into the internationals hoping that you win, or what's your aim going internationally? Because I think that's fascinating. Some people go in obviously wanting to win. Everyone wants to win. No one wants to not win.
Everyone wants to win.
But are you focused on a particular result, or are you focused more on enjoying the journey?
Look, I'm so grateful to be here. You know, in saying that though, like, I didn't just fluke my win. Like, I worked hard and I did as much as I could do, and I feel like I'm going into internationals just as prepared. You know, there is not one thing that I could have done differently or I could have done more of. I'm so proud of myself of what I've achieved, especially, you know, I'm a mum with 3 kids and a husband and a drag team, and, you know, I've still managed to do all of this with all that in tow. So I couldn't go into internationals wanting or being able to put any more into it. Obviously, I would love the win. There is so much I could do with the international title. but just to be on that stage to represent my country, what an achievement in itself. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Are you taking over anything for your international sister queens? I mean, God forbid, I always joke with Alicia about this, but she's taking over Vegemite. And
yes.
Are you taking over Vegemite as well, are you?
Yeah, but I think our Vegemite presents are a bit different. Let's just say I'm giving everyone a taste of Australia.
Okay. I mean, Alicia basically just eats it straight out of the jar, so that's a bit...
I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. Like, I will literally smother on toast, but you have to have more butter ratio than Vegemite.
Well, I will agree with that. Certainly can't just have Vegemite without the butter. Otherwise, I dare anyone to try doing that with a straight face. Michelle, before we go to the final 10 questions, social media in terms of keeping up with you, we've got at Mrs. Galaxy Australia 2019 under your video for your Instagram, and then you've got your Facebook page as well. So I would assume those are the two main platforms to catch you on?
Yes, absolutely. Instagram and Facebook. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Let's go into the final 10 questions. And for those of you watching, if you have any questions for Michelle before I let her go, make sure to put them in the comments below. Let's get into it. You are the third Team Australia queen to go through this. Alicia's gone through this so many times, I actually didn't ask her. There was just no point. Okay, but here we go. Your first time. Number 1, what is your favourite word?
Mum. Yeah, absolutely. I don't even have to think about it, mum. I'm so lucky to be called it, and I love mine so much. So mum is my favourite word by far.
And what is your least favourite word?
My least favourite word, negativity. Yeah, I don't like negativity, and there's no need for it. So that's my least favourite word.
Question 3: what turns you on?
Drag racing.
That was a very quick. That might be the quickest answer I've ever had to that question.
Yeah, there's nothing that sparks my fire more than racing.
Does it have a
obviously pageantry, but
sure.
Yeah, it's just something I've been passionate about for so long. So yeah, definitely is what pushes my buttons.
When you go near to the drag racing event, does it have a particular smell? Like airports have that aviation fuel. Does a drag race have
rubber?
Rubber? Okay.
Yeah, and methanol. There's this candy additive you can put in the methanol, and it smells like lollies, and it's delicious. But you really shouldn't be smelling too much of it. But it's really good.
Making the toxic fumes smell like candy seems like a bad idea to me. Anyway.
Sugar coats it, really.
Yeah. Question 4. What turns you off?
Negativity. Again, it just, I don't understand why people can't just support people and be happy for people. And, there's enough bad things in the world that negativity towards people is just not needed.
Yeah, I don't understand why people would waste any amount of time on it.
And their energy, it just doesn't make sense. Like, waste your time doing something good for people or for the world. Why try and bring people down?
I don't know. If you ever figure out the answer to that one, let me know. Question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
Can I answer 2?
Sure. I'm going to assume one of them's going to be burnouts.
You're good.
Okay.
No? Close though. First one would have to be a baby's laughter.
Mm-hmm.
My son, when he cracks up laughing, it is just the best sound in the world, and you just can't help but crack up laughing as well. Secondly would have to be a blown car going through the traps wide open, just hearing that. That's me.
I was close. Not exactly there, but I was close.
Very close. Not your typical pageant girl answer, but hey, that's me.
No, and every pageant girl answers not a typical pageant girl answer, but that really wasn't a typical pageant answer. Okay, so what sound or noise do you hate?
Detonation of an engine. Yep, that sucks. When you hear a car or a supercharger popping off at the end of the track. Yeah, that kind of sucks.
When you say
that means either Pardon?
When you say detonation, do you mean it actually just explodes?
The whole inside of the motor.
Ouch.
So it's, yeah, that's it. So once you hear that, you're like, yep, it's time to pack up and go home now.
That sounds really
and
expensive.
there's going to be a big bill after that.
Yep. Okay. Question 7. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
The power to heal. I think that's something that would make such a difference in the world, and it would change the way the world rotates, I think. And, just to take pain away from people would be, something very special. So, the power to heal.
I think you might be the first person to give me that answer. That's I really like that answer. Oh,
Thank you.
Alicia has written more Vegemite than butter. No, Alicia, we're not talking about you. We're talking about sane people. Anyway.
I won't be sharing my Vegemite on the plane with her then.
Sometimes I've got to be honest. I don't know if she's pulling my leg or she really does love Vegemite that much.
I think she's being genuine, to be honest.
That's even scarier. I don't... Alicia was my ambassador for my mental health project, which we actually did launch in Perth. And as a present, because she helped me edit my book, I got her 4 customized jars of Vegemite with her name on them. But because her name is Alicia Van Schoonhoven, and you can only have 6 characters or so on, I had to get her 4 jars. It literally said Alicia Van Schoonhoven. And there's this picture of her holding 4 jars, but she has finished all 4 jars.
In a week.
Well, maybe a year, but still, that's a lot of Vegemite to go through in a year.
That's a lot of Vegemite, yeah.
Anyway, question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I think a lawyer. My dad always said I should have been a lawyer if I wasn't playing with cars, because when I believe in something and when I know I'm right, I will fight whoever till the cows come home to make sure it's known and just make sure the right thing is done. Either that or I would have loved to have pursued singing a bit more. But I said life happens and I went down a completely different road, and it's bizarre how that works because now I've gone down another completely different road with pageantry. And
that's right. You responded to my post about sometimes just finding yourself down a completely different path.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like 2 years ago, would I have expected to be here doing this? Absolutely not. But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. I genuinely think this platform is going to just open so many doors for me, and I know I'm going to make a difference with what I'm going to do. So, and I'm confident about that. So I'm where I'm meant to be.
Question 9. What job or occupation other than your own would you definitely not like to attempt?
Oh, a hotel cleaner. I couldn't think of anything worse. And you know why I say this? Because when we were in Queensland for national finals, I remember we were going to the lifts and there was the cleaners had, how like they leave the doors open when they're doing a room?
Yeah.
And they were doing a room and we walked past and I looked in and I had to stop and go back and have another look. And I was like, wow, there was just junk. In saying junk, I mean rubbish everywhere. And I was like, someone has had such a wild, bizarre night.
A bender.
And I was like, I would hate to see what else they were cleaning up in that bedroom. Like, you would see some odd things, I think, being a hotel cleaner, and that's not my cup of tea. So, no, I would definitely not like to be a hotel cleaner.
Yeah, there are some things that no person should ever have to see.
No, and I think they see it all. Yep.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more accurate it is. I will say that a lot of pageant girls, that for that question, they give the answer of some sort of cleaner. So that seems to be a common thread. And
you know what's bizarre though is me and my husband, we're both very similar. We're such OCD cleaners. Like our house, there's a certain spot for everything. And but I wouldn't like to be cleaning up someone else's stuff, and especially in that state. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that one. Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Your dad and brother have been waiting for you. Yeah, to know that they would be there waiting for me would just be everything. To see them again would be everything. So that's what I would hope he would say.
Yeah. Well, before we finish up, Michelle, is there anyone that you want to give thanks to or shout out to?
Absolutely. My whole family, my mum, my poor mum. She's all of my crazy expeditions. She's been my number one supporter, and no matter how wild they may be, like me moving to Perth because I wanted to go play with cars. She genuinely has just. She's the reason why I am what I am today. And then my husband, same thing. He's never said no to me when I've wanted to do something, and he's always backed me 100%, and in every form, like financially, emotionally, mentally. Like it's just he's just such an amazing man, and I'm so lucky to be married to him. My daughters, and my son, like they're my everything, and to know that they're so proud, and they've both of them actually, it's over there, they've done letters for me.
Oh wow.
And I'm not allowed to open them until I'm on the plane.
Oh,
and
that's gonna bring the tears, I'm telling you now.
That's gonna absolutely. But I know it's just them being so excited, and so I've done them like little boxes, pageant boxes, and they're not allowed to open them until the finals. The crowning night will start at 7 a.m. Sunday morning here.
Right.
So I've filled them full of like lollies and crowns and Australian flags and whatnot. So they have a little kit. And I probably shouldn't have put lollies in there, but my mother-in-law's got them, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Her problem.
And but just to have, I really wanted to involve them. They came over to Queensland for the national finals. Wow. And I remember hearing, "That's my mum," being yelled at.
That's probably something you don't hear in the Miss section or the teen section very often.
No, but I'll never ever forget that, and that was special. And most especially a big thank you to Lucinda and Shakai. And they've got 4 girls to worry about and to make sure that we get over and we're prepared and whatnot. And I mean, Lucinda took a girl that couldn't walk to save her life, and she turned her into her now reigning Mrs. Galaxy. So I'm so grateful for them. And my sister Queens, another, like, I don't know where I would be without Alicia. She has been my rock throughout since I've been crowned. She really is just something special, and I'm so grateful for her. And she's not in this just for herself. She's in this for all of us, just as my other 2 queens are, but Alicia really, is the one I call when I need help. Or like yesterday, trying to set up Skype, she was the one that rang me. She was exhausted at 10 o'clock at night, but she's always there for other people. So a huge thank you to her and Tiana and Shiko for experiencing this with me. It's really special.
Yeah. Alicia is definitely one of a kind, although I do think it's funny that you got her to help you with Skype, because she can't work Skype to save her life.
Well, neither can I. So it was an interesting conversation last night.
It's the blind leading the blind.
And it's worked.
It worked eventually, I guess, but I think that was my end more so than your end. Just before I let you go, your sister has asked, how can we watch the international pageant results, which I'm assuming means how can probably she watch it live?
On the Galaxy Pageants page, on the original one, I say it will be live on there. I'm assuming it'll also be on the Australian Galaxy Pageant page, and I'm sure Shakai will, because Shakai is coming over with us. She will make sure it's on there too. So, but I'll share it around prior to going anyway, and when we find out exactly the link, it'll be all on my Facebook page. Okay,
perfect. Well, I'm going to keep you for just a minute longer after I hang up with our audience, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And best of luck overseas. I'm going to thank everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Hey, it's Adrian. Thanks so much for listening to our podcast. Make sure to subscribe to get details of our new episodes as they drop, and connect with us on social at The Pageant Project. Speak to you next. bye.